appeared on our large screens and small screens throughout television and cinematic history. They rule over books and novels with their wands, elegant robes, and of course, extraordinary powers. Sometimes you see them, you know, good, sometimes you see them bad, sometimes they're a mix of both, but they're still very, very fascinating nonetheless. I feel like most of the time we see witches turning land black or complaining about their glory days when they were more prettier than they used to be. Jeez, I'm really sounding like a witch right now. Am I? Abracadabra, going to the next scene. And of course, a superbly powerful witch recently appeared in the new Marvel movie, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Ooh, who else could we be talking about? Well, you have 5 seconds to leave this video if you haven't watched that movie yet, because I am not going to be held accountable for any spoilers that I give out. So go. 5, 4, 3, 2, boom! So at the end of WandaVision, we see Wanda emerge as the Scarlet Witch and wielding with her the evil magic book, the Darkhold. And what the Darkhold kind of does, it corrupts the user. So Wanda is currently corrupted as Scarlet Witch, making her the scariest MCU villain to date. I mean, no one can stand in her way. And trust me, in Multiverse of Madness, we see people stand in her way, and it does not end very well for them. Those including Charles Xavier, Reed Richards, Black Bolt, Captain Carter, and Captain Marvel. Obviously not from Universe 616, but a different universe. Scarlet Witch has so much power, only she can destroy herself. And she kinda did. But did she? Did she though? Questions, I have so many questions. But there's also a tragic story that has taken her from superhero to, I guess, supervillain. To me, I find her arc beautifully tragic. I can empathize with why she did so much of what she did, but it doesn't mean that she wasn't a villain to so many who, you know, she inflicted pain on. Oh, Wanda. She just wanted to protect her family and, you know, have a loving family. And unfortunately, that was her demise. So obviously we have our famous witches like the Halliwell sisters and the Sanderson sisters, and also I guess we have those that are less talked about. So what say you we rank them? I feel like with witches, it's always like a who's better than the other, and like that I guess essentially boils down to their powers and abilities. So if you have like more power, then you're like the Scarlet Witch, or if you're like less power, then maybe you're like Sabrina the Teenage Witch. No hate to my girl Sabrina, depends which variation you're talking about. But I'd say usually a witch has really cool powers like flying and polymorphism, transfiguration, changing the weather, fire, sewing someone's mouth shut. Huh? But now let me pit 2 of my favorite witches together. Who are they? Well, none other than Maleficent and Minerva McGonagall. So first of all, we're going to talk a little bit about Maleficent, who to me is the evilest. Evilest? Is that a word? The most evil witch in the Disney realm and among the Disney tales. So why is that? Why do I think that? I mean, she can turn into a giant dragon, and yeah, that's just it. Like, you can turn into a giant dragon and breathe fire. That's pretty cool, in my opinion. But she does put Aurora into a deep slumber to do anything that would benefit her and herself, because she's Maleficent. I think one of her lines that stick out to me the most is, "You poor simple fool, thinking you could defeat me, the mistress of all evil." This line just exudes confidence and just makes her seem like, honestly, a badass. And like, it's no wonder why everybody surrenders to her charm, because why else wouldn't you? So in the 1959 animation of Sleeping Beauty, Maleficent's image was honestly not it. It was not a look for her. Her skin was black and purple, her eyes were yellow, she had a creepy crow following her, and I'm guessing that's why people didn't really take too well to her character, and that essentially made her like the most hated cartoon character in Disney. So in the 2014 film Maleficent, we definitely see a different image of her, I guess, being portrayed. First of all, can we talk about those cheekbones? Slay! right! Those cheekbones are so iconic. And of course she has this tall, slender figure and she wears this green robe. She's presented as more of a noble person. And the way she talks and the way she carries herself is definitely more softer and more elegant.
Well, well.
And even when her character got angry, she would just sneer and send out some green flames to burn everything around her. She wasn't like as hateful and spiteful as the cartoon version of her, I suppose. And I guess all in all, this makes, you know, Maleficent this beautiful, amazing, impressive sorceress. And that's one of the reasons why I loved her. Plus, it's Angelina Jolie, who can ever fault anything that she does. Plus, her performance as Maleficent was just chef's kiss. It was amazing. She took evil to a whole nother extreme, and honestly, it was magnificent to watch. Magnificent to watch. And if you want to watch it, you know, you can go watch Maleficent on Disney. And as a villain in Disney literature, I feel like nobody really compares to her. And you can see that in this line that she says to Philip.
Now shall you deal with me, O Prince, and all the powers of hell!
Honestly, as a villain, especially in Disney literature, nobody compares to Maleficent. Sorry. Maleficent highlights her strengths, and that really helps her confidence and charm shine through. During the christening ceremony, for example, she was so powerful that even the three good witches could not match her. And they were saying how they could not lift Maleficent's curse, but they could only simply alter it. Using her staff, she can conjure up spells. She casted a powerful dark magic spell like her Forest of Thorns. She also uses hypnosis on Aurora to make her prick her finger. And one of her most powerful abilities is transforming herself into a massive fire-breathing dragon. Who wouldn't want to be a dragon? Because I want to be a dragon. How to train your Maleficent. Huh? And of course the flame blast from her fire breathing is strong enough to knock away Philip's shield of virtue effortlessly. She also possesses some degree of divination and telepathy, as demonstrated when she was taunting Prince Philip near the film's end with the revelation that Briar Rose and Princess Aurora were the same. And of course, that's what made me even more obsessed with her in Disney's Maleficent, Mistress of Evil in 2019. Because, you know, we could see her really struggling with like her humanity and evil thoughts, and it was refreshing to see how, like, even though she's quote unquote bad, that she still wanted to protect important people. So moving on, what is it about Minerva McGonagall that appeals to me? Well, as vice principal, she does lead with tough love, but she's constantly there for the Hogwarts students time and time again. And to me, that kind of hits home, close to home a little bit. She reminds me of a teacher I had in middle school, and though she was strict, you know, it was all tough love, but at the end of the day, she really helped me, and that's something I will always be thankful for. In the Harry Potter series, Minerva McGonagall is an incredibly powerful and talented witch. She is the head of Gryffindor and Professor of Transfiguration. So, Minerva McGonagall was said to be a tall, rather sprightly 70-year-old woman. She had black hair, which was rarely let down, and the majority of the time it was combed back into a tight bun. Or she was a cat. When Minerva was happy or relaxed, she seemed entirely different. Minerva often wore emerald green robes or her favorite tartan pattern. She wore square spectacles that matched the markings around the eyes of her animagus and Patronus, a silver tabby cat. There's a line that goes, "Professor McGonagall is one of the most powerful witches I know." Minerva McGonagall is honestly an incredible witch, and no one should underestimate her powers, let me tell you that. Her magical prowess allowed her to be Professor of Transfiguration, and when she faced Professor Snape in a battle, one of the only wizards who could rival McGonagall for magic skill, she managed to force Snape onto the back foot almost immediately. She can also cast spells wandless and with non-verbal magic, animagus, control underage magic, and brew potion. Minerva displays her tremendous skill and powers by successfully becoming the Professor of Transfiguration, Deputy Headmistress, and of course, Headmistress of Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. So with that being said, I feel like I have my answer on who would win if I put both of them, you know, head to head in a battle for the death. Let me know who you think would win in the comments down below. So for me, my answer is, while I do think Minerva is incredibly skillful and powerful, I just feel like nobody could ever rival a giant fire-breathing dragon. In my opinion. Even if like Maleficent couldn't turn into a giant fire-breathing dragon, she could still, you know, hypnotize the elves to fight for her, or change the weather in favor of her so Minerva could like fail. But ultimately, giant fire-breathing dragon. Turn me into a dragon right now. Editor. And that is the end of our video for today. Have you guys checked out all of our latest videos? If you haven't, click here to watch more Southeast Asian horror stories and myths. I promise you it's a great watch. And as usual, don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to stay updated to all of our latest videos. And remember, this is super important, don't look at the demon. I'll see you guys next time. Hocus pocus, make me unfocus!